You know, when you're going through the twin flame journey, one of the most confusing and honestly heartbreaking phases is the runner and chaser dynamic. You're sitting there wondering if they even think about you anymore. You're questioning everything. Did I imagine this connection? Was it all in my head? And the silence from them can feel deafening. But here's what I want you to understand right from the start. Just because your twin flame runner isn't picking up the phone or sending you long text messages doesn't mean they've forgotten about you. In fact, the opposite is usually true. They're thinking about you more than you could possibly imagine. The thing is, twin flame runners are often running from themselves, not from you. They're overwhelmed by the intensity of what they feel, and they don't have the tools or the emotional maturity yet to deal with it head on. So they go quiet. They create distance. But even in that silence, even in that distance, they're showing you interest in ways that don't require words. These signs are subtle, sometimes so subtle you might miss them if you're not paying attention. But once you start recognizing them, you'll realize that your runner twin is very much still connected to you, still aware of you, and still affected by this bond you share. Today, I want to walk you through the ways your twin flame runner shows interest without saying a word. These aren't just theories or nice ideas. These are real patterns that show up again and again in twin flame connections. And understanding these signs will help you feel less alone, less confused, and more grounded in the truth of your journey. Number 1, they watch your social media like a hawk. Let's start with something that happens all the time. Your twin flame runner is watching your social media. I'm talking about checking your stories, looking at your posts, maybe not liking or commenting, but definitely watching. You might notice they're one of the first people to view your story even though you haven't talked in weeks or months. Or maybe you see them popping up in your viewer list at odd hours, like late at night when most people are asleep. This is not a coincidence. When someone is trying to move on from you, they don't keep tabs on your life. They don't care what you had for breakfast or where you went on the weekend. But your twin flame runner cares deeply. They want to know what you're doing, how you're feeling, if you're happy, if you're with someone else. They're checking in on you because they can't help themselves. Now, why don't they just reach out if they're so interested? Because they're scared. They're not ready to face what reaching out would mean. Engaging with you directly would mean confronting all those feelings they've been running from. So instead, they watch from a distance. It's their way of staying connected without having to be vulnerable. If you're going through this, use it to your advantage. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that helps you maintain your own growth and energy. Post things that reflect your genuine happiness and progress. Show them through your life that you're evolving, that you're not sitting around waiting for them. This does two things. First, it keeps you focused on yourself and your own journey, which is exactly where your focus should be. Second, it plants seeds in their consciousness that you're becoming the best version of yourself, which will eventually call them back when they're ready. Number 2, they show up in places where you are. This one can feel a bit like the universe is playing tricks on you, but it's real. Your twin flame runner has a way of showing up in places where you are, and it's rarely by accident. Maybe you run into them at the coffee shop you go to every morning. Maybe they suddenly start going to the same gym. Maybe you see them at events or gatherings that they wouldn't normally attend. On the surface, they might play it off like it's just coincidence. They might act surprised to see you or keep the interaction brief and casual. But underneath, there's something else going on. Their higher self is pulling them toward you, creating these opportunities for connection even when their ego is still running scared. Sometimes this happens on a subconscious level. They're not consciously planning to bump into you, but something inside them is guiding them to be near you. The twin flame connection operates on frequencies that go beyond logic and conscious choice. Your energy calls to them, and they respond to that call even when they don't understand why. When these encounters happen, stay calm and centered. Don't make a big deal out of it or put them on the spot. Just be warm, be genuine, and then let it go. These little moments are breadcrumbs on the path back to union. They're reminders to both of you that this connection is still alive and real. Let them happen naturally without forcing anything or reading too much into each interaction. Number 3, they keep mutual friends close to stay connected to your world. Here's something that might seem indirect, but it's actually very telling. Your twin flame runner maintains friendships or connections with people who are close to you. These mutual friends become a bridge, a way for the runner to stay informed about your life without having to ask you directly. They might casually bring you up in conversation with these friends. Something like, "Hey, how's so and so doing?" Or, "I saw they posted about that new job. That's cool." It seems innocent enough, but what they're really doing is gathering information. They want to know about you. They want to hear that you're okay. Or maybe they want to know if you're dating someone new, or if you've mentioned them at all. These mutual connections also serve another purpose. They keep the runner energetically tied to your world. By staying close to people you care about, they're maintaining a presence in your orbit even when they're not directly in your life. It's their way of not completely severing the connection. If you notice this pattern, understand what it means. Your runner hasn't moved on. They're still very much invested in you and what's happening in your life. But don't try to use mutual friends to send messages or manipulate the situation. That always backfires and creates unnecessary drama. Instead, just live your life authentically and let the grapevine do what it does naturally. The truth of who you are and how you're growing will reach them through these channels without you having to force it. Number 4, their energy reaches out to you in dreams and meditation. Now we're getting into the more spiritual side of things, but this is incredibly common in twin flame dynamics. Your runner twin reaches out to you energetically, especially during sleep or when you're in meditative states. You might have vivid dreams where they appear, sometimes saying things they'd never say in waking life, sometimes just being present with you in a way that feels deeply peaceful and connected. These aren't just random dreams. They're actual soul communications. When the physical distance and the ego defenses are down, your souls connect on the astral plane. Your runner's higher self knows the truth of your connection, even if their human self is still in denial or fear. In these dream states, they can express what they can't express in reality. They can show you love, show you they care, show you they haven't forgotten. You might also feel their energy during meditation or in quiet moments. Suddenly, they'll pop into your mind with such intensity that it feels like they're right there with you. Or you'll get a sudden wave of emotion that doesn't seem to come from your own feelings. This is them thinking about you, their energy reaching across whatever physical distance separates you. Pay attention to these experiences. Keep a dream journal if you can. Write down what happens, what's said, how you feel. Over time, you'll start to see patterns and messages coming through. This is one of the most direct ways your twin flame communicates with you during separation, and it's their higher self showing you that the connection is very much alive. When you feel their energy like this, send them love in return. Send them light and healing. This strengthens the energetic bond and supports both of your journeys toward healing and eventual reunion. Number 5, they react to your energy shifts even from a distance. This one is fascinating, and it proves just how deep the twin flame connection goes. When you make significant shifts in your energy, when you heal something big or step into a new level of self-love, your runner twin reacts to it. You might not hear from them for months, and then suddenly, right after you've had a major breakthrough, they text you. Or they like an old photo, or you bump into them. It's not random timing. Twin flames share an energetic cord that never breaks, no matter how much physical distance or silence exists between you. When you raise your vibration, they feel it. When you release old pain or step into your power, it creates a shift in the entire dynamic. And often, their response is to reach out in some small way, even if they don't understand why they're doing it. This also works in reverse. When you're struggling, when you're in a low vibration, or spending all your energy obsessing over them, they tend to pull back even more. It's like they can sense when you're in need or desperation, and it triggers their running instinct even stronger. But when you're genuinely okay, when you're thriving and focused on yourself, that's when they start moving closer again. Use this knowledge to empower yourself. Focus on your own healing and growth, not as a strategy to get them back, but because it's what you genuinely need for your own soul evolution. As you do this work, you'll notice your runner responding to your energy in various ways. It confirms that they're still tuned into you, still affected by you, and still very much a part of this journey with you. Number 6, they can't fully commit to anyone else. Let's talk about something that might be painful to think about, but is actually a sign of their continued interest in you. If your twin flame runner tries to move on with someone else, they can't fully commit to that person. You might see them in a new relationship, and it hurts like hell, I know. But watch closely, and you'll see that something is always off about it. They don't talk about this new person with the same depth or intensity. The relationship seems surface level, or it's on and off. Or they keep that person at arm's length emotionally. This is because nobody else can occupy the space in their heart that belongs to you. The twin flame connection is so unique and so deep that other relationships feel flat in comparison, even if the runner doesn't want to admit this to themselves. They might try really hard to make it work with someone else. They might even convince themselves that this new person is better for them, easier, less complicated. But the truth always shows itself over time. They'll compare this person to you. They'll miss things about you. They'll realize that what they have with someone else doesn't come close to touching what you two share. If you find out your runner is with someone else, I know it feels like the end of the world, but try to see it for what it really is. It's often part of their journey to understand what they have with you. Sometimes people need to experience what they don't want in order to finally appreciate what they do want. This is not about you being in competition with anyone else. Nobody can compete with the twin flame connection. Stay in your own lane, keep working on yourself, and trust that what's meant for you will find its way back to you when the timing is right. Number 7, they keep things that remind them of you. Finally, let's talk about something that's more private and personal. Your twin flame runner keeps things that remind them of you. Maybe it's a photo on their phone they never deleted. Maybe it's a gift you gave them. Maybe it's a shirt you wore once that still smells like you. These physical reminders become sacred to them, even if they'd never admit it out loud. They might look at these things when they're alone, when they're missing you, when they're wondering if they made the right choice by running. These objects become touchstones, little pieces of you they can hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. It's their way of keeping you close without having to actually be close. This also extends to digital things. They save your messages, they keep old emails, they have screenshots of conversations tucked away somewhere. They might go back and read these things when they're feeling the pull of the connection, reminding themselves of what you shared, even as they try to convince themselves they've moved on. When you understand this, you realize that your runner hasn't forgotten you or erased you from their life. You're still there, woven into their daily existence in small but significant ways. They're holding space for you, even as they hold space from you. And that's actually a beautiful thing, even though it doesn't always feel that way when you're in the thick of separation. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Your twin flame runner is showing interest in you constantly, even when they're silent. The signs are there if you know how to look for them. But more importantly, I want you to understand that their running has nothing to do with your worth or the validity of your connection. Focus on yourself. Focus on healing your own wounds, raising your own vibration, and becoming the fullest expression of who you're meant to be. That's the real work of the twin flame journey. As you do that work, everything else will fall into place in divine timing. Your runner will eventually stop running when they've healed enough to face what you share. Until then, trust the process, trust yourself, and trust that this connection is guiding both of you exactly where you need to go.